Have you ever been in a relationship between an anxious partner and an avoidant partner and had it blow up in your face? You might be wondering if it's even possible to make love work between an anxious and avoidant partner, or if it's just doomed to heartbreak and loss every single time. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and I will tell you it can work because I've seen it. I have helped hundreds and hundreds of my coaching clients achieve this together and build a fulfilling romantic relationship for life. I've built systems that make it happen. And today I'm going to show you how to build romance between an anxious partner and an avoidant partner. I'm about to teach you the exact clear steps. There is one proven method that I've spent 15 years designing, and I'm going to share it with you today. But I'm going to caution you. It is not obvious how to make these patterns work because the exact instincts that are baked into the anxious person will make them drive the avoidant person away. And the problems in the avoidant person are so big that they cannot even understand what love really is. So they will run away when they start achieving any kind of intimacy. It will feel overwhelming or it will feel pointless because they miss it entirely. So if you have been the anxious person or you have been the avoidant person, I have experimented with all of these options to give you the best outcomes, and I'm going to show you exactly why you shouldn't be experimenting yourself. You have a limited amount of time in your life to make this work. You can suffer horrible heartache and horrible misery if you don't get this right. Okay? If a couple is already on the rocks, it is time for you to build the right system that's going to give you the love and the intimacy you need. So again, whether you're anxious or avoidant, I don't care. I am here to show you exactly how to make your love work. Let's get into it right now. Now, to help you make an anxious and avoidant dynamic work, first I need to show you about why it falls apart darn near every single time. Okay? What makes anxious and avoidant people toxic for each other? Avoidant people are insecure about love. Now, this is a strange phrasing to use for them. Most of you avoidant people out there probably have already thrown up because you can't understand why I would say insecure about love. But your brain chemistry that you experience, the massively high cortisol and stress you've experienced most of your life that keeps your brain buzzing, keeps you constantly on edge, never able to relax, never able to stop thinking about risks. You're always assessing risks. You're solving other people-like problems. That massively high cortisol, it actually bonds into your brain and prevents you from experiencing the love hormone oxytocin. Even if somebody gives you love, you won't feel it and you're primed not to. You're actually primed to block the feeling of happiness and the feeling of contentment and bonding and real connection. This is why your serotonin levels are probably fairly low. You probably do a lot of heavy lifting, heavy exercise, eating very specifically to try to boost serotonin, but you get almost none. You're scraping in the bottom of the barrel. That's why if you miss even one day on your routine, you feel like a disaster. Okay. Avoidant people are insecure in love because they don't understand what love is supposed to be. They're constantly chasing dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. That's the only thing they can really get. Okay. The novelty dopamine of the beginning of a relationship, especially, but they also don't want to get trapped. Mobility, freedom, unrestricted access to dopamine, inability to escape is a big fear for them. Right. So they get into a relationship with someone who's incredibly needy. Someone who is anxious and says, hey, you know what? I don't deserve love. I'm the scum of the earth. I'm going to do nice things for you and you'll never, ever leave me. And I will measure my worth as a human being based on how you feel about me at the moment. And that's based on how much attention you're giving me right now. This sounds like hell on earth for both of them. And it is. This is hell on earth for most people in this experience, okay? This is why anxious people are insecure in this relationship because they come in saying, I don't deserve love, but if you give me attention, it means for a moment that you have decided to take pity on me and at least you won't ever leave me. And then they walk in and they start smothering the avoidant person without meaning to. They start smothering them with this need for love and connection and soothing and all kinds of validation. And the avoidant person for the first 5 months gets a ton of dopamine, so they feel compensated, so they're happy to help out. But after that 5 months, the dopamine wears off. They say, this is worthless to me. Why am I doing this? I'm exhausted. You're taking everything from me. And they start backing off. Now, what happens? The avoidant person usually backs out at some point. They call this running, although it's really just backing away and saying, you know what, strategically, this is not the best move for me. This is not the right time to invest. I'm not going to see many returns. I don't think there are returns. This seems like a really bad investment. They start backing away, risk assessment language. The anxious person says, why are you leaving me? I have done everything for you. I did all those things you asked. I even did that one thing. I did everything that you've asked me. Why are you leaving me now? I have been so good. And they start chasing. And the avoidant person runs more, and the anxious person chases more, and it becomes worse and worse and worse. And now they're both scared, they're upset, they're angry, they're resentful, they fight. Massive problems, okay? Even 30 years together does not mean it's going to work out. I've seen people get married and chase through this loop over and over and over. I wrote a book on it. It's right over my shoulder. It's called Exhausted Wives, Bewildered Husbands. Couples who are at 20 years and get a divorce, this is the pattern I've seen. Avoidant men who made it work for 20 years, anxious women who made it work for 20 years, but now they're boiling with resentment and they are ready to file for divorce, and it's time to end it. I believe this is what leads to the 70% divorce statistic that women are initiating. This is what I believe is contributing to that 50% divorce rate in all marriages. By the way, I believe it's 35% in new marriages. So I will say this, there is only one way to make this dynamic work. The two, anxious and avoidant, must work together to build mutual understanding. They have to have a shared goal. They have to have a shared language. They've also got to create sustainability and stability in the relationship. This is mandatory or it's not going to work. So when I have couples come into my coaching program, I run this through this and I do this with them. How do they achieve these targets? I'm going to tell you right now, okay? You need to do a couple clear things. Number one, you have to create a shared goal. I tell my couples this, every relationship has to have a purpose. If you're just in this to feel good until one of you dies, eventually the good feelings will go away. What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to build a family? Are you trying to build a great long-term, enduring, loving, intimate family for the next 200 years? Okay, cool. That's a goal. That's me and my wife, by the way. That's why we've been together 15 and a half years. I got 5 kids so far. That's why we're building a family for 200 years that they will take care of each other. The family will take care of the individuals. The individuals will take care of the family. Nobody gets smothered. Everybody gets what they need. That's the goal. That's why we are married. Okay, that is the purpose of our marriage. So every relationship has to have a goal. You need to write this down. I do this day one with my coaching clients. This is why it is mandatory to have a goal, or you can't even agree on what you're supposed to be doing or why. Okay, once you have that goal, you need to be able to speak the same shared language. There's 2 languages in relationships. One is risk-focused language, risk assessment language that avoidant people tend to use. It is, I don't know if I should invest here. What are the opportunities? What are the drawbacks? I'm not certain that this is going to really pay me the right reward. The risk is this big, the investment. No, I don't think this is the right move. Risk assessment language, okay? It's very non-personal. It's business language. There's also an emotional language, right? I have needs. I need to feel loved. This would help me feel so loved. This is important to me because of this. Emotional language. Both need to be shared. You need to both speak both of those languages. You usually have to begin by speaking the risk assessment language together. Then the avoidant person learns the emotional language and learns to make it measurable for them. And it becomes a shared mutual 2 languages that merge into one. And you can go back and forth between the 2 of them. Very important you have this. This is usually session 2 or 3 inside my coaching program. It needs to happen really quick. So make sure you guys are learning those shared languages together and being able to speak effectively in a measurable way. The next thing you need to do is create a mutual understanding through this language. So that says, these are the things I need. These are the things you need. How can we take care of each other? There are risks here based on how we feel. The value of our feelings is this. Session 3, I talk about the reason that people have feelings and why those feelings are valuable, even to the person who doesn't have as many emotions, right? What purpose do those feelings serve? They tell you where the problems are inside the relationship. You have to make them measurable. So they bring the feelings to the more logical partner. The partner says, okay, what does this mean? You solve the problem. Everybody feels good. This fosters sustainability for the avoidant person. They actually get their needs met. They don't get smothered. They don't get overwhelmed. Their cortisol comes down. They vasopressin bond. They oxytocin bond. They feel incredible for the first time. And now their investment bears fruit. Now it makes sense. Okay, you know what? I'm willing to be monogamous with you because look at all the things I get. Look at the warmth, the intimacy, the connection, the trust, the safety, the security. Look at everything I get out of this. For monogamy? Yeah, no problem. I can do this. Avoidant men are happy to invest in monogamous relationships when they finally realize what they're going to get out of it and they have a partner who can sustainably provide that. It also fosters tremendous stability for the anxious person when they're able to make a connection with the avoidant person, okay? So what do you need to do here? You need to understand what's going to make stability for the anxious person. Number one, it cannot be based on how much attention they're getting at the time, but they need to be able to go to their partner and ask, where are we at today? One big thing I have couples do for this is build weekly check-ins, weekly huddles for about 10, 15 minutes where you check in and see how each person is feeling in the relationship. When you do this, the anxious person feels incredible all the time because they keep getting constant feedback on where things are at. They know things are trending in the right direction and they know they're not about to be abandoned. I recommend you implement one of these weekly huddles in your relationship now. As you do all of this and build a remade secure style for both partners in your relationship, you can learn to bond properly. This means that the only way to make romance work is to have that shared secure bond that transcends anxious or avoidant patterns in either partner. You can't stay anxious and avoidant. You have to merge together in a shared secure style in the relationship. Okay? I know because I've helped thousands of couples achieve this over the last decade, but I can't reach every couple myself. This is why I created an affordable, reliable system you can work together in your home in just a few hours to achieve. Okay? The How to Love an Avoidant Man video course, I poured all of my 15 years of training into this, all of the system I have built for couples, a lot of that piece that you need right there that we just talked about, all of it's inside that video course. Now, the worst thing you can do is try to just muddle through this and sort of make it work. Because what happens? Anxiously attached people say, well, I'm just going to give them space and time and they'll figure it out on their own because they want to be loved. No, they're going to get worse as they run away. The avoidant person is not going to get better on their own because they have no frame of reference for love and intimacy. All they have is dopamine. They're going to go chasing dopamine instead, and you're going to lose them. The avoidant person's like, well, if I just pull away further, that will make the anxious person start standing up for themselves. Then they'll learn self-sufficiency. That'll be a good lesson for them. It'll be hard, but good. No, the anxious person will feel utterly and completely abandoned, betrayed, hated, and they'll be angry and resentful. And they'll wait for you to come back to them. And then they'll be angry that you left them. And it will be worse than before. And eventually, what played out in that book over there, and exhausted wives, bewildered husbands, 20-year divorce, they will destroy you in a divorce and they will feel fully justified because you made their life a living hell for 20 years. I don't want that pattern to happen to anybody. Please, please, please check out the How to Love an Avoidant Man video course linked in the description below. I hate watching couples fall apart, so save yourself, okay? Check out the course. It will help. Now, I have seen tens of thousands of couples unfortunately break up from this pattern in my comment sections, in people I've known, in celebrity couples. I open up my apps and every single day I'm watching tons of people on social media fall apart from this. If you don't fix this pattern, it can make your life terrible. But fixing this pattern can create a lasting and lifelong bond full of love and intimacy. So if you have a partner, if you don't want to lose them, but you're struggling with this dynamic right now, please check out the course linked in the description below, How to Love an Avoidant Man. I will warn you with this, okay? I'm going to leave you with this one warning. Inside that course, I talk specifically about why the anxious person must not use things like, I need to feel loved. Even though you do, I know what you mean. The avoidant person will never understand what you mean. The more that you say, I need to feel loved, the angrier and more frustrated they're going to get until they say, you are impossible. We want different things. This is not going to work. Goodbye. So if you want them to leave, keep saying, I want to be loved. If you want to build a sustainable relationship, learn to speak their language and say that in a measurable way. Number one thing I can tell you right now so you don't lose them. I am Adam Lee Smith, the attachment specialist. You can tell I'm passionate about this. I just hate watching people lose their love, okay? So for more information about why this pattern tears you apart, check out my next video on this channel, Why Giving Him Space Will Never Make Him Better. I need you to watch that immediately.